Welcome, esteemed gentlemen. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. But what if the nail doesn't care? In a world obsessed with fitting in, Sigma males stand as defiant outliers, quietly rewriting the rules of social interaction. They don't chase the spotlight, yet their mere presence often becomes a topic of heated debate. Did you know that studies reveal most people prefer conformity over individuality, even at the cost of personal freedom? This makes the Sigma male's refusal to bow to societal norms not just unusual, but downright unsettling. Why? Because they're the human equivalent of that one friend who refuses to clap at a terrible performance. They expose the pretense. Some see it as bold, others see it as infuriating. And let's be honest, in a world that labels even silence as a power move, Sigma males aren't just misunderstood, they're hated. But don't be too quick to judge. Is society genuinely threatened by them, or are they simply a convenient scapegoat for our collective insecurities? Stick around. This rabbit hole gets deeper than you think, and who knows, by the end of this, you might even find yourself rooting for the nail. Number 1. They don't feed the ego economy. In today's world, attention is currency. People crave likes, comments, compliments, and validation like their lives depend on it. It's not just personal. Entire industries thrive on feeding egos. Social media platforms, marketing campaigns, even workplace hierarchies. But then comes the Sigma male, completely unfazed by this ego economy, refusing to play along. It's not arrogance, it's indifference, and that drives people insane. Sigma males don't feel the need to inflate egos, neither their own nor anyone else's. They won't stroke someone's pride to climb a ladder, and they definitely won't engage in performative flattery just to fit in. For them, relationships and interactions are about authenticity, not transactions. This creates a kind of tension because society is wired to expect a back and forth of approval. When they don't engage in this unspoken social barter, it feels like rejection, even if it's not personal. Their behavior also disrupts the natural flow of social dynamics. Many people subconsciously rely on validation to feel secure. When faced with someone who doesn't offer it, they start questioning their own value or significance. Instead of introspection, they often lash out or label Sigma males as aloof, cold, or arrogant. What really twists the knife is that Sigma males don't seek validation in return either. They're content in their own skin, making their independence even more frustrating for those who thrive on external acknowledgement. It's not that Sigma males are trying to make a statement, they just don't see the point in a game that's all fluff and no substance. In a society addicted to mutual ego stroking, Sigma males feel like a glitch in the system. And in a world that thrives on feeding egos, nothing stings quite like someone who simply doesn't care. Number 2. They can't be controlled. Control is the backbone of most social systems. Whether it's in the workplace, personal relationships, or social groups, there's an unspoken expectation to comply, conform, and be influenced. Enter the Sigma male, an individual who refuses to play by these unwritten rules. Their resistance to manipulation doesn't come from rebellion, but from their deep-rooted independence and self-awareness, which makes them nearly impossible to control. This lack of susceptibility frustrates those who thrive on power dynamics. Manipulators often rely on subtle tactics, guilt-tripping, flattery, or peer pressure to bend others to their will. But Sigma males don't respond to these cues. Compliments don't sway them, peer approval doesn't motivate them, and guilt rolls off their backs. It's not that they're unfeeling. They simply operate on their own internal compass, rendering traditional methods of control ineffective. In workplaces, this resistance can make them stand out in both good and bad ways. While others may play office politics to climb the ladder, Sigma males focus on results and personal growth. This disrupts the usual power dynamics, as they refuse to submit to unnecessary authority or petty politics. For controlling bosses or colleagues, this independence is not just frustrating, it's threatening. In relationships, Sigma males are equally unyielding. They value mutual respect and authenticity over control or dependency. Attempts to manipulate them, through jealousy, emotional games, or ultimatums, are met with indifference or even detachment. They aren't afraid to walk away from situations that compromise their principles, further disarming those who rely on control as a tool. This inability to control a Sigma male doesn't just irritate, it exposes the fragility of manipulative tactics. When faced with someone who can't be swayed, those who depend on control lose their power, and that loss often breeds resentment. Number 3. They are a mirror to insecurity. Sigma males, with their quiet confidence and steadfast independence, often serve as an uncomfortable mirror for society's insecurities. They don't seek approval, follow trends, or feel compelled to conform, which highlights the very things many people try to hide: doubt, dependency, and fear of rejection. Their self-reliance can feel like a silent critique of those who constantly seek validation, and that's where the hostility begins. People tend to project their insecurities onto others. It's human nature. If someone feels inadequate, they may unconsciously lash out at someone who embodies the qualities they lack. Sigma males, who thrive on their own terms, become an easy target for this projection. Their confidence can be misinterpreted as arrogance, their independence as isolation, and their refusal to conform as an attack on societal norms. The truth is, Sigma males don't go out of their way to challenge others. They simply exist on a different wavelength. But their mere presence can unsettle those who derive their self-worth from external sources. A Sigma male walking into a room doesn't have to say a word to make someone feel insecure. It's the contrast between their unshakable sense of self and the collective need for approval that creates tension. This tension often manifests as criticism or outright dislike. People label them as too distant, too cold, or too different, when in reality, it's a defense mechanism. It's easier to criticize someone for being self-reliant than to confront the discomfort of one's own dependency. In a way, Sigma males unintentionally hold up a mirror to the parts of society that people would rather not face. Their independence shines a light on the cracks in the facade, and for many, that reflection is hard to look at. Number 4. Their success defies the rules. Society loves its rules. From childhood, we're taught that success follows a clear formula: go to school, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder, and stick to the plan. But Sigma males, with their unconventional approach to life, shatter this carefully crafted narrative. They carve their own paths to success, often ignoring the so-called rules. And this defiance doesn't just surprise people, it unsettles them. Sigma males succeed on their own terms, often in ways that don't make sense to those stuck in traditional systems. They prioritize self-mastery, adaptability, and creative problem-solving over conformity. Whether it's starting a business from scratch, pursuing a passion others deemed impractical, or finding financial freedom without the rat race, their success stories are a slap in the face to those who followed the rules, yet feel unfulfilled. What really sparks envy is that Sigma males often achieve their goals without the usual fanfare. They don't network excessively, crave recognition, or conform to industry expectations. Their success seems effortless because they focus on efficiency and results, not appearances. For those grinding away at a job they hate or following societal expectations without question, this can feel deeply unfair. Moreover, Sigma males' unconventional success challenges the idea that rules and systems are infallible. If one person can bypass the grind and still achieve greatness, it forces others to question whether their sacrifices were worth it. And that's uncomfortable, because acknowledging that the system isn't the only way means confronting the possibility that they've been misled. This quiet rebellion against the status quo often draws resentment. People who've invested their lives in following the rules don't want to believe there's another way, especially one that Sigma males seem to navigate so effortlessly. Their success is proof that the rules are optional, and not everyone is ready to hear that. Number 5. They expose the illusions of authority. Authority thrives on validation. It relies on people playing their roles, following orders, and respecting hierarchies without question. Sigma males, however, don't buy into this unspoken agreement. They don't seek approval from authority figures, nor do they feel compelled to follow traditional systems. This quiet defiance doesn't just make them stand out. It exposes the fragile, often arbitrary nature of the very systems most people unquestioningly obey. For a Sigma male, authority is not inherently respected. It has to be earned. Titles, positions, or social status don't impress them unless they're backed by competence and authenticity. This mindset disrupts the usual power dynamic, where authority figures expect compliance simply because of their rank. When a Sigma male challenges that expectation, not through rebellion but by simply refusing to submit, it creates discomfort. It forces others to question why they've accepted those hierarchies in the first place. This behavior also highlights the illusions underpinning many societal norms. Authority often relies on perception, not actual power. When someone like a Sigma male opts out of seeking validation, they show how much of that power depends on collective agreement. It's a subtle but powerful reminder that authority is only as strong as the people who support it. In workplaces, for instance, Sigma males might bypass office politics and focus solely on results. This refusal to engage in the traditional power plays can make managers and colleagues uneasy, as it reveals how much of the system is built on appearances rather than substance. Similarly, in social groups, their detachment from social clout highlights how arbitrary status games really are. By exposing these illusions, Sigma males don't just disrupt the norm, they shine a light on its weaknesses. And for those invested in maintaining the illusion of authority, that truth can be deeply unsettling. Number 6. Their calm demeanor is misinterpreted as apathy. In a world that equates loudness with passion and dramatics with authenticity, Sigma males stand out for their calm, measured demeanor. They don't overreact. They don't engage in unnecessary emotional displays, and they rarely wear their hearts on their sleeves. For many, this emotional control is a breath of fresh air, but for others, it's deeply unsettling. Why? Because society often mistakes calmness for apathy, leading to a fundamental misjudgment of their character. Sigma males approach situations with logic and composure, even under pressure. This ability to remain unshaken is a strength, but it's frequently misinterpreted as indifference or even arrogance. In emotional or high-stakes environments where people expect visible reactions to validate feelings or concerns, their lack of overt response can frustrate or alienate others. It's not that they don't care. It's that they process emotions differently, often internally rather than outwardly. This misunderstanding is particularly pronounced in relationships or group dynamics. People often expect visible affirmations of empathy or concern, like grand gestures or dramatic reactions. Sigma males, however, show care through actions and quiet support rather than flashy displays. For those who equate emotional expression with emotional depth, this calmness can feel like a lack of investment, even when it's anything but. The frustration others feel is often a projection of their own need for validation. They might assume, if they're not reacting the way I would, they must not care. This leads to unfair labels, distant, cold, or detached. In reality, Sigma males are simply tuned into a different frequency, valuing emotional stability over performative expression. Their calm demeanor isn't apathy, it's strength. But in a society that values noise over nuance, this quiet strength is often overlooked and misunderstood. Number 7. They're unapologetically honest. Sigma males are unapologetically honest, a trait that can be both refreshing and deeply unsettling in a world that often values diplomacy, sugarcoating, and saying what people want to hear. For them, truth is not negotiable, even if it makes others uncomfortable. They don't believe in dressing up their words to avoid offense or stretching the truth to gain favor. This raw honesty, while admirable, frequently rubs people the wrong way. In society, much of communication revolves around preserving harmony, even if it means bending the truth. Flattery, white lies, and subtle manipulations are common tools to navigate social dynamics. Sigma males reject all of this. They believe that honesty, even when it stings, is far more valuable than false comfort. Their straightforwardness can come across as abrasive because it disrupts the unwritten rules of polite conversation. In personal relationships, this bluntness can be both a blessing and a challenge. Sigma males won't tell someone what they want to hear. They'll tell them what they need to hear. While their intention is often to help or offer clarity, their delivery can sometimes feel harsh to those unaccustomed to such directness. Instead of sugarcoating flaws or mistakes, they confront them head-on, which can lead to misunderstandings or hurt feelings. The corporate and social world often rewards tact over truth, making Sigma males an anomaly. Their refusal to play the game can alienate them, as others may perceive their honesty as a lack of tact or empathy. But to the Sigma male, honesty is respect. It shows they value the other person enough to be truthful, even when it's inconvenient. Ultimately, their candid nature challenges societal norms, forcing people to confront truths they might otherwise avoid. It's not always easy to hear, but for those who value authenticity, it's a rare and valuable trait. Number 8, they operate outside the rat race. The societal rat race is a never-ending cycle of competition, chasing promotions, wealth, social status, and validation. It's a game that most people play without question, believing it's the only path to success and fulfillment. But Sigma males don't play this game. Instead, they operate entirely outside of it, choosing to focus on their own goals and personal growth rather than competing with others. This mindset doesn't just set them apart, it exposes the futility of the rat race itself, leaving many feeling unsettled. Sigma males define success on their own terms, rejecting the traditional markers of achievement. They don't feel the need to climb corporate ladders, accumulate material wealth to impress others, or obsess over who has the biggest house, car, or paycheck. To them, true success lies in freedom, autonomy, and pursuing passions that genuinely matter to them. This quiet detachment from the rat race often highlights just how empty and exhausting the competition can be. For those deeply invested in the grind, Sigma males can feel like a threat. Their refusal to compete makes others question why they're working so hard and whether the rewards are even worth it. If someone can achieve happiness and success without playing the game, what does that say about the game itself? This realization can spark envy, resentment, or even outright hostility. What's more, Sigma males often succeed precisely because they're not distracted by the noise of competition. They channel their energy into honing their skills, building meaningful connections, and creating value on their own terms. This focused, deliberate approach often leads to greater fulfillment and sometimes even more tangible success than those stuck in the rat race ever achieve. By stepping off the hamster wheel, Sigma males shine a spotlight on its absurdity, leaving others to wonder if they've been chasing the wrong goals all along. Number 9. They don't engage in social climbing. In almost every social or professional environment, there's an unspoken game, the politics of social climbing. People jockey for positions, kiss up to the right people, and carefully curate their image to move up the ladder. It's exhausting, it's manipulative, and it's ingrained in the way society operates. But Sigma males, they don't play that game. They tend to avoid the politics of climbing social ladders altogether, and in doing so, they disrupt the carefully constructed rules that govern most social circles. Sigma males are independent by nature, and they don't see value in gaining influence through flattery or aligning themselves with people just for the sake of status. Instead of networking their way to success or positioning themselves for power, they focus on what truly matters, their own goals, skills, and growth. This refusal to engage in social climbing doesn't just set them apart. It throws a wrench in the gears of systems built on manipulation, favoritism, and connections. In the workplace, for example, Sigma males may remain out of the office gossip, refuse to play favorites, or bypass the usual impress the boss tactics. While others are working overtime to be seen, to please, or to align themselves with powerful figures, Sigma males do their work quietly and focus on the results. They're not interested in winning approval, they're focused on their own standards of success. This detachment from social climbing frustrates those who are deeply invested in the politics of it all. Colleagues may view them as aloof, uncooperative, or even threatening. After all, if someone can thrive without participating in the game, it reveals just how shallow and manipulative the game can be. It forces others to confront the fact that much of the competition they engage in is based on external validation, not intrinsic worth. Sigma males don't need to prove anything to anyone, and that is exactly why they disrupt the social order. Their indifference to status and power exposes the fragile nature of social ladders, where climbing often has more to do with perception than substance. Number 10. They don't fear rejection or exclusion. Rejection and social exclusion are some of the most powerful weapons in the arsenal of those who seek control or influence. Whether it's the silent treatment, being left out of a group, or even overt rejection, these tactics rely on the assumption that being excluded will hurt or disempower someone. For most people, rejection is painful. It triggers insecurities and makes them strive harder for acceptance. But for Sigma males, rejection is just another part of life, and their indifference to it completely disarms those who try to use it as leverage. Sigma males don't need external validation to feel good about themselves. Their sense of self-worth is not contingent upon fitting into a group or being part of the social fabric. As a result, social exclusion holds no power over them. They don't seek approval, they don't conform to group norms, and they don't play the game of belonging that many people are so desperately invested in. So when others attempt to use rejection as a tool to manipulate or control, Sigma males simply don't react in the way society expects. For those who rely on exclusion to maintain power, this is a frustrating reality. They may attempt to isolate a Sigma male, perhaps hoping to make them feel alienated or forced into submission, but instead, the Sigma male remains calm and unaffected, further highlighting the futility of such tactics. It's like trying to break a wall with a feather. Their indifference doesn't come from apathy. It comes from a deep sense of self-reliance. They know their value doesn't depend on social circles or external approval. This ability to be unaffected by rejection or exclusion is a kind of silent power, one that renders such tactics completely ineffective. For the people who rely on exclusion to create social pressure, the Sigma male's indifference exposes how hollow and manipulative those strategies are. In a world that thrives on conformity, validation, and the constant pursuit of status, Sigma males stand as a testament to what it means to live authentically and independently. They don't fit the mold, and that's exactly why they are misunderstood, resented, and at times even hated. Their refusal to play by society's rules, whether it's the social ladder, the politics of approval, or the expectations of conformity, forces a confrontation with the very systems most people rely on for comfort and identity. But here's the thing. The Sigma male isn't doing it to disrupt others. They simply don't need the validation or the noise. They are focused on their own path, their own growth, and their own definition of success. They embody a level of freedom and self-sufficiency that many of us secretly crave but fear to pursue. Their quiet confidence, blunt honesty, and refusal to be swayed by societal pressures hold a mirror up to the conventions we've all been taught to follow, exposing their fragility, their arbitrariness, and their limitations. So the next time you find yourself feeling the sting of envy or frustration toward a Sigma male, take a moment to reflect. What is it about their independence that makes you uncomfortable? Is it the fact that they're living without needing to follow the crowd, without seeking approval, and without bowing to the systems that control us? Perhaps, deep down, we all wish we could embrace a little more of that freedom, but it's easier to resent what we don't understand than to challenge our own comfort zones. In the end, Sigma males don't just live outside the box. They've long ago figured out that the box itself was never worth entering. And perhaps, just maybe, they're onto something most of us have yet to grasp. If you've enjoyed diving into the world of Sigma males with us, don't forget to show some love. Hit that subscribe button to stay updated with more thought-provoking content. And if this resonated with you, be sure to like, comment, and share it with those who might need a little dose of unconventional wisdom. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. And before you go, from all of us here, we wish you a truly spectacular new year filled with growth, freedom, and endless possibilities. Here's to embracing authenticity and living life on your own terms. Cheers to a bright 2025 ahead.